Rule number 39. The subject of an infinitive is in the accusative case. There are two parts of this rule to talk about. The first is when we have an objective infinitive, and the other involves indirect statement. And let's take the objective infinitive first. It's a bit easier to handle. So let's start it off by talking about the verb iubeo, to order. When I order you to do something, like say sit, we put sit into the infinitive and you into the accusative case. Iubeo te sedere. In this situation, te is the accusative subject of the infinitive. You are doing, or supposed to do, the action of sitting. Caesar labienum collem ascendere iubet. Caesar orders Labienus to climb the hill. Labienum is the subject of ascendere even though it's in the accusative case. The accusative collem here, by the way, is the simple direct object accusative of ascendere. The verb veto, to forbid, also works in the same way. Legatos descedere vetuerunt. They forbade the legates to leave. Legatos is the accusative subject of discedere. This sort of construction makes sense because the accusative subject is similar to a direct object. Whom did they forbid? The legates. The verb volo and its compounds like nolo and malo also often takes an accusative subject plus an infinitive. Volo te scire. I want you to know. The te is the subject of scire. Or puella noluit canem latrare. The girl didn't want the dog to bark. Canem is the subject of the infinitive latrare. If you're writing your own Latin, though, it's important to note that not all verbs you'd expect take an accusative plus an infinitive. So many verbs take a subjunctive ut clause instead, including those whose meanings are pretty similar to verbs we've already seen. So while we may say pater iusit filiam cibum emere, the father ordered his daughter to buy food. Filiam is our subject accusative. If we swap out iusit with imperavit, while the infinitive is sometimes found after this verb, we more likely would see an ut clause with the subjunctive. Pater filiae imperavit ut cibum emeret. The verb impero takes its object in the dative case, by the way. That's filiae. Okay, let's switch gears now. The other big part of this rule involves indirect statement, rule number 69. To quickly summarize, an indirect statement involves a verb of thinking, saying, seeing, and the like. I call them head verbs, since the action most often originates in the head, followed by the subject in the accusative case, and then the action is relayed as an infinitive. So Marcus says that the dog is sitting. Marcus dicit canem sedere. The subject of the infinitive sedere is the accusative canem. Putat se esse oratorem. He thinks that he is an orator. The accusative se is the subject of esse. Spero me liberatum esse de metu. I hope that I have been freed from fear. Me is the accusative subject of liberatum esse. Sometimes the accusative subject is omitted if it's easily understood. So Caesar wrote, ignoscere imprudentiae dixit. He said that he pardoned their rashness. The subject is an understood accusative se. It's the same he as the subject. But since it's clear from the context, it can go unwritten. And note that the accusative and infinitive construction only applies to indirect statements. Commands and questions, when relayed indirectly, use a subjunctive clause. So I think that this is a basic explanation of rule number 39. The subject of an infinitive is in the accusative case.